Well, hello. Hey there, my name is Liam, this is my hobby room, and today we're going to be doing our airbrushing video. Our airbrushing video. I have some friends that, I don't know why it sounds like a lie when I'm saying that. I do have friends, I have friends. There's Scrappy Pete and Jay. Damn it. A few people I know have been talking about getting into airbrushing lately and wanting to start that journey. Just wondering where to begin, what to get, what to buy. So this video is going to be just a primer. Pun intended. This is going to be like a primer, an introduction on getting into airbrushing and just the stuff you might need, talking about different paint types, how to do the thing, how to do it, how to airbrush, how to do airbrush. So let's talk about it. Why is it you want to airbrush? I'm going to tell you, don't worry. So airbrushing is the way to get much more control over your painting process. You can mix your own colors, which is, whoa, cool. It's a way to get much more control over what you're painting. You can mix colors, you can make your own colors, sunburst effects, or you can highlight, you can low light, you can shade, you can pre-shade, you can post-shade, while also providing a super flush finish that you really can't get anywhere else unless you are very, 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 very good at hand painting. But I'm not. So I use an airbrush to get the kind of effect that I like. So this video is about the way that I airbrush. That doesn't mean it's the only way or the best way, by no means. I'm sure there are much better ways to do it. This is the way that I do it. And it's worked for me. It's worked for me for about, how long have I been airbrushing? I've been airbrushing for about 7 years, and for anyone that's new watching this video, new to airbrushing, I don't want you to see this and think, well, I have to get this stuff. I have to do it exactly this way, because that's not true at all. In the long run, airbrushing will save you a lot of money on paint because a little bit goes a long way. You're not overspraying as much. You have so much tight control. Control is the name of the game. There's a certain freedom in being able to make your own colors and get exactly the results you want and not have to settle. Basically, you can make it look exactly how you want it to, and just like all skills, you'll get better at it as you go. You'll learn more, and learning is fun. Learning is great. It makes you a better hobbyist, makes you a better person. So does it matter what kind of airbrush you get? Sort of, not really. Maybe only in the broadest sense, where if you buy a crappy airbrush, if you buy a really cheap airbrush, it's probably something you're just gonna grow out of immediately and throw away, which is not what you want. You wanna buy something that will last you, that you can grow into, because as a hobbyist, you're always going to be growing, you're always going to be learning. So why not get something that's high quality, that you know will last, that you can grow into, that can withstand a few of your mistakes, because in the beginning, there will be a lot of mistakes. There were a lot for me. I hope this video helps alleviate some of them, helps you save a little bit of time as you're learning about all these new different processes. So like I said before, it can be a little expensive getting into airbrushing. It can be a little daunting, especially when you look at all the prices of things and there's so many different types of supplies and materials. Do you need all of these things? No. Are they kind of nice to have? Sometimes, depends on your process. So we're gonna talk about your airbrush, your compressors, your paints, and some other tools here and there that might help you and might save you a little trouble in the long run. Your airbrush itself is an expensive tool. Yes, expect to spend anywhere from $100 to really you can spend as much as you want on airbrushes. But if you're gonna buy your first airbrush, don't spend less than $100 and buy it from a brand that is reputable, that has some prestige to it, that has some kind of security behind it, like Iwata or Pache and Badger. Badgers are so cute, so dangerous, but so cute. For Aztec, those guys have been around forever. There are other brands that make airbrushes, but these ones are not only available in the West, but they're good, they're easy to use for the most part. Where you're really going to be spending the brunt of your money is on your air compressor. You can expect to pay $200 and up. You might be able to find them for cheaper. I'm sure they're out there. Maybe not the brands that I mentioned, but you want to buy something that's not a total piece of crap, that doesn't just either stop working on you or not work the way you want it to, and that way you end up throwing it out or finding some unlucky person to thrust it on. Iwata makes great compressors. Pache makes great compressors. Those ones are pretty readily available in the West, so take your pick. So when you start painting, you're gonna hear a lot of talk about thinning your paints. Should you thin your paints? Yes, always. always. One of the things that confuses and stumps people new to airbrushing is thinning your paints. Thinning with the correct solvent, first of all, because there are lots of different solvents and lots of different types of paint, and those solvents and paints aren't always interchangeable, and most times they're not. And what can happen is you'll either turn your paint into gum inside your airbrush, or it will get really gunky. It might even harden faster. It might just come out like water. It might not come out at all. Usually the paint brand that you're using will make a solvent for that paint. And just use that to avoid any hiccups that may come from, using the wrong solvent. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, but that's $3 more than the other one. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's $3. You need to buy smart if you're in this hobby. Unfortunately, it is not a cheap hobby. And if you don't buy smart, you're gonna buy the shitty thing first, and it's not gonna work very well, and you're gonna end up having to buy the expensive thing later anyways. Just buy the right thing. So if you're getting Vallejo paints, get the Vallejo thinner. Talk to the people at your local hobby shop. They know what they're doing. They will give you the correct product. It may not always be the cheapest product, but it'll be the one that works best for what you're trying to achieve. If you tell them, I can't really spend this much, I'm sure there's another option they can find you. If there's not, then that's just the way it is. So, thinning. When you thin your paints, the general consensus amongst hobbyists is that you want the consistency of skim milk. What does that mean? It's not an exact measurement. Just experiment with the right tools and you will get there. You will get there, I promise. For instance, when I'm thinning my Mr. Hobby lacquer paints, I'm going to just eyeball it until it's the right consistency. Stir it up and mix it, and then spray it through my brush. If your paint is coming out speckly, then you haven't thinned it enough. If it's coming out runny and it's not really adhering anywhere, then you've thinned it too much. So that will happen quite a bit. You'll get one or the other results. It happens to me all the time because I eyeball it. But skim milk consistency, use the correct thinner, and your paint will be perfect. It just might take a few tries. One of the most important pieces of advice I can give you in this whole video is to be patient with yourself. If you don't get it right the first time, it doesn't mean you're not gonna get it right the next time. It just means you need a little more practice. If you've never painted before, then yeah, it's a whole skill set to learn. So just be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself. Just because you make a mistake, it doesn't mean you're not good at it. It just means you haven't given yourself the chance yet. The best tip I can give you for getting into airbrushing is get the right tools and just do it. Otherwise, you're going to be humming and hawing over so many tiny little nitpicky things you don't even need to have at this stage. Do you need the fancy airbrush holder? Do you need these extra add-ons and stuff? You don't. You don't need any of that. Get the airbrush compressor, get your airbrush, get your paint and your solvents, and start painting. As you grow, you will learn more and you'll want to get other stuff, and then you can get into all the knickknacks and periphery, because there's a whole bunch of it. I hope this video has been helpful for anybody who's been thinking about getting into airbrushing for a while, or they've just got their stuff and they're like, what do I do with all this? What do I do? By no means is this a be-all, end-all for airbrush stuff. This is a very, very general introduction to this topic because it's a huge topic and there's a lot of stuff to learn. I'm gonna call this a part 1, just in case there's some other stuff I forget about, like, I forgot to tell them about the gobbledygook machine. Like I said before, control is the name of the game in airbrushing, and don't forget to be patient and kind to yourself while you're learning. With that, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much. You feel low, and good things are hard.